Hello and welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives F1's worst cars, so you don't have to, from 2010 onwards using the Cody's games, and we're into 2013, reign number 10 at the Hungaroring, the Hungarian Grand Prix, and it's a repeated mantra, pretty much episode to episode. So far this season's been solid, if unspectacular. Germany was kind of the epitome of that. We ran as high as 9th, I think it was, with a retirement in front of us, managed to get ourselves into the points. Race pace wasn't quite there, got jumped a couple of times in the pits, ended the race 12th, just outside the points, but holding off much faster cars for large portions of it. And yeah, we're getting to that point of the season now where I'm starting to wonder if we're going to find ourselves picking up any points at all. But as you can see, we've been promoted to equal status with Jules Bianchi and the Marussia here, so that's something, I guess, much like the 2012 season, equal status with Della Rosa, we're now equal status with Bianchi here. But now we move into a couple of races that I think are possibly going to expose us. Hungary's not a particular favourite of mine, Belgium and Italy, a lot of pace. Got to be hoping for another crazy Singapore, maybe. But let's take a look at the standings before we get into this one. We sit 18th, just ahead of Bottas in the Williams, Peak in the Caterham, Bianchi, our other team, our other Marussia, the teammate for us. That's a terrible way of saying that sentence, but you get what I mean. And Guido van der Garde in the other Caterham, behind Werner, Maldonado and Ricciardo, all of whom are also yet to score points, but have better finishing positions than me so far this season. At the top end of things, Lewis Hamilton 3 points clear of Sebastian Vettel, looking to retain his title. He'd be the first person in this series to retain their driver's title over the course of a couple of seasons. Alonso a further 30 points back, with Nico Rosberg level on points with him. Felipe Massa probably just on the fringes of being involved in the championship battle. You'd like to think, though, that he's probably out of it. Weber, Perez, Raikkonen, Grosjean and Hulkenberg, your top 10. Hulkenberg's been really impressive in that Sauber. Button in 11th, ahead of De Resta, Gutierrez and Sutil, who are the only other people to score points. In the Constructors, we sit 10th, just ahead of Caterham, behind Williams and Toro Rosso, who are yet to score. But at the top, it's Mercedes by 51, ahead of Red Bull. Ferrari are in third, the only other team in striking distance of the top two, realistically. McLaren, who are the Constructors' champions from last season, are currently sat 4th and way away, so they're not going to be defending their crown. Lotus are in 5th, ahead of Sauber and Force India. And yeah, the Hungaroring, the Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest, just not a circuit I'm particularly good around. Like Monaco without the walls, is what they say, and I'm not great around Monaco either. So this is probably going to be one of those races where, realistically, we're going to struggle to beat anybody. But because of how tight and how difficult it is to overtake here, it could also be one of those ones where we just manage to navigate our way through some carnage early and maybe try and hold position. It'd have to be a valiant effort regardless. We should probably go out and see just how bad our pace really is. So let's cross to practice, and while we do, we'll talk about the 2013 Hungarian Grand Prix. The Hungaroring was the destination for round 10 of the 2013 season, and Sebastian Vettel was leading the championship, already looking like he was on course to retain his driver's title. First practice was topped by the championship leader, despite missing early running due to a brake problem with his Red Bull. It'd be Mark Webber who would finish the session in second, just ahead of the Lotus of Kimi Raikkonen. It would be a repeat in the second practice session, with 2 Red Bulls, Vettel ahead of Webber, followed by a Lotus, this time of Romain Grosjean. The final practice session would be topped by Grosjean ahead of Alonso and Perez, though the Mexican would crash at turn 11 late on. The first part of qualifying would be as far as the 2 Marussia and 2 Caterham cars would go, as usual, but they would be joined by Esteban Gutierrez, who'd missed most of final practice with engine issues, and Paul de Resta, who seemed to lack grip and was unable to advance in his Force India. There'd be no major shocks in Q2 either, McLaren's woes during 2013 continuing. as Button was eliminated alongside both Williams, Jean-Eric Vergne, Nico Hülkenberg and Adrian Sutil. It would be Lewis Hamilton who take pole position ahead of Vettel and Grosjean, with Daniel Ricciardo once again setting an impressive time to end Q3 in 8th place, while Mark Webber would be unable to set a time after electrical issues in Q2 and would have to line up down in 10th. Hamilton would lead the field through turn 1 with little threat from the cars behind. The other Mercedes didn't fare so well though through the opening salvos, first colliding with Felipe Massa, damaging the Ferrari, then running wide twice during the rest of the lap, slipping down the order rapidly. Hamilton would be the first to pit on lap 10, coming out just behind Jenson Button's McLaren, but he'd make light work of his former teammate, a move crucial to his strategy. Vettel would pit not long after, and also find himself behind the McLaren, but he would be unable to move past for quite a few laps, gifting Hamilton an advantage. When Vettel did get past Jenson Button, he made contact with the McLaren, damaging his front wing in the process. Grosjean would follow the Red Bull through, also making contact with Button during his move. Grosjean would be in the walls once again, passing Massa into turn 4, but he ran off track to do so, and he netted himself a drive-through penalty. Hülkenberg would suffer a similar fate after speeding in the pit lane, netting another drive-through, while a few other cars would find themselves at the side of the road, overheating and suffering engine failures. Bottas having a smoky hydraulic failure while Rosberg's engine caught fire. There would be no such problems for the other Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton though, taking his first win for the German manufacturer after his move from McLaren at the end of 2012, with this being the first of many for the Silver Arrows. He'd be followed home by Raikkonen, Vettel, Webber and Alonso. Grosjean would come home 6th despite a 20-second post-race penalty for his collision with Button, who finished 7th, with Massa, Perez and Maldonado taking the remaining points. What hope do we have in Hungary? This isn't a track that should expose our outright lack of pace, but it's not a place I'm particularly strong around. So that puts us on the back foot pretty much instantaneously. It's going to be one of those qualifying sessions where staying off the back row is really the main aim, because with the best will in the world, you can push as hard as you can at this track and still not really gain a huge amount of time. So our target's going to be a pretty lowly 20th place, but I hope maybe we can nick a few spots while other cars are stuck in traffic around this narrow, dusty, bowl-like circuit.
We don't need to push too hard in this session. We should have the pace to qualify easily.
In the garage for qualifying then, in Hungary, Engineer Andy again. Maybe his viewpoint warped a little bit by the 12th place finish in Germany, but I can assure him it's going to be difficult to get a Q1 here. Practice was alright. I demonstrated ably with a Mercedes as to why it's so difficult to get past here. So there's an outside bet that if we can gain some places early, we'll do alright and hold some people off. Qualifying though, it's going to be tough staying off the back row, I think. So we better get out there, try and get some laps on the board while it's quiet, and hopefully beat at least our nearest rivals.
Your times for Sector 3 are good, but 1 and 2 are well off the pace.
Here's our fastest lap in Q1 then. You can see we're already at the back of the grid, but we get a really nice run into turn 1. Car doesn't want to quite stick, but we don't run wide enough to worry too much about it as we head down towards turn number 2 with the DRS open. You're always waiting to get on the power. I know the green line is there saying go, 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 but as you saw, the back end tries to step out if you get on the throttle too early. but we throw the car through 3, just try and make some time up. We're about 3.5 tenths up on our best time, so at least that's a good solid start to the lap as we get into turn 5. You want to avoid the curb on the inside, a little bit murdering in these earlier games as we get to the chicane in the middle of the lap. Maybe a little bit too overcautious there, nearly throw the rear end out by clipping the inside sausage curb, but we're now in the technical section of the circuit. Again, just a lot of times where I'm not confident enough to get on the throttle too early, but we head out to the end of the second sector and we're up by a fair margin on our best time. Bounce over the curb in that right-hander and then into this long left before getting onto the power for the final little bit. We bounce off the curb again and kind of unsettles us, but we're then into the final corner. We try a little bit of a slingshot move and then we put our foot to the floor, and at least the lap time moves us off the back.
You've moved up into 17th.
In Q1, as is traditional, but ahead of Jules Bianchi, so that makes it 5-all in the teammate battle in qualifying. It just managed to hook one good lap up and then could never get anywhere near it. But we end the session 19th, ahead of Bianchi, ahead of Peak, ahead of Van der Garde, just in behind the Force India of Sutil and the Sauber of Gutierrez. At one point, Grosjean was down the back with us, but he catapulted himself out. Both Williams make it through, but only just. I honestly think that's as much as we could give with this car, and like I say, just managed to get lucky and hook one lap up, and that's all I needed. One clear lap, all out there on my own, away from the traffic, and we managed to get a kind of traditional result out of it. It's going to be a tough race, I think, this one. But, as I demonstrated in practice, and actually in parts of qualifying, it's tough to overtake here as well. So hopefully we get a good launch and we can gain some spots. But let's cross over to the race, see how we get on in Hungary. In the garage pre-race for the Hungarian Grand Prix, 19th on the grid. Traditional spot for us, really. It was one lap we hooked up, and that was kind of about it, but that's all it needed to be. So we'll be starting from our kind of traditional grid spot down near the back. Let's take a look at that grid order though, before we talk about the race. Sebastian Vettel took pole ahead of his championship rival Lewis Hamilton. Rosberg's in third with Alonso in fourth. And Massa in fifth, Webber in sixth, top six in the championship, top six on the grid. Button, Raikkonen, Perez and Hülkenberg once again in the top 10 in the Sauber. Really having a great season there for Sauber. Grosjean in 11th ahead of Maldonado, Ricciardo, Di Resta, Bottas in 15th and it's Verne. And then those of us out in Q1, Sutil, Gutierrez, myself ahead of Bianchi, Peak and Van der Garde. And the Hungaroring is a tough place to drive. It's a tough place to overtake, which might bode well for us, might benefit us as the race goes on. Unlike the Nürburgring, which Nürburgring tough to overtake, but there's enough of a, enough of an area where you can overtake, especially with DRS down the back straight or down towards turn 1. Here, it's a little less cut and dry. The DRS not quite as powerful through into turn 1 and into turn 2. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage. I think we're unlikely to be getting points here. We've possibly missed our opportunities for now. Maybe we'll get another one come somewhere like Singapore, possibly, to try and score some points this season, because at the moment we're on for a pointless year, and I feel like that could be something that will happen. So here I think it's just a case really of aiming low and aiming to maintain our position. 19th place is where we start. 19th place is where I want to finish. Back to sort of more traditional targets, I guess. But again, get a good start, get through the first couple of corners, pick a few spots off as people battle ahead of us, and then just try and sit in the way. Really, that's kind of all we can hope for. So let's go to the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Vettel and Hamilton on the front row there. They're going to be fighting their way into turn 1. There we are. Both Caterhams behind us. There's Bianchi. talk from engineer Andy today as we get the 5th red light. The hold is a bit longer than it was in Germany, and away we go. We get a decent start there. Dump a bit of curves to try and draw up alongside the Sauber. But the second phase, look at the anking. We have to squeeze the caterer out as we just maybe avoid a couple of cars through turn 1. All getting a little bit feisty, about 4 wide around us. As there's Perez in 10th. Bounce off the side pod of the McLaren. We're up into P11 and in front of Jenson Button again. He's going to be sick of the sight of us after the German Grand Prix. Decent start, managed to avoid most of the chaos. Just found ourselves a little spot to exist in, really, in the middle of the pack. Ferrari running wide up ahead, which is concertina everybody in front of me up. Not able to take advantage of it though, as we get a little bit leery as well. Might take advantage of it here though, no? It would have been a bit of a dive. We'd backed off early to avoid contact with the back of Perez. But we will have a go this time. Not quite. The Mexican Minister of Defense there. Defending well, unsurprisingly. Between the two McLarens in P11. Vettel has held the lead up front. A bit wide out the last corner.
DRS
Right button, but he's not going to be close enough.
When you're within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone.
Tries to go on the outside at the final corner. We'll get DRS now as well, right? Verne gets past the McLaren, and now it's the Toro Rosso's turn. Vettel's checked out at the front, and then second to 10th. Oh, second to maybe about 7th or 8th. Having a fair old battle, and then Perez and whoever else is just in front of them in their own little bubble. And then we lead the rest of the traffic.
Okay, looks like you're losing too much grip. You should consider coming into the pits and replacing your tyres.
Still got a couple of laps till our scheduled stop, but very hard on my tyres as Button has found his way past Verne. DRS though not powerful enough down into turn 1, but we are really tiptoeing round. It's very much like Silverstone all over again. 20 seconds off Perez already. These 2013 Pirellis are woeful. I've got to come in this lap, I can barely get any power down. 3 seconds in that sector alone, so yeah, we're coming in this lap. Nearly spin directly across Button. Nobody else comes in. Doubtless I'm going to lose ground through this stop phase as well. Fall to last. Verne down in 21st. He was behind us, as in right behind us at one point.
Remember to stay inside the white line or we'll get a penalty.
Cars are in, up in the lead pack. I think we're going to be quick enough to get back in front of the
We believe the car ahead has a lot
train of
fuel in
cars
reserve.
that we were fighting. We're on fresh rubber. Big clutch of those cars in.
Showing that the
There's Jensen Button. Nearly go too deep into turn one, trying to get back past the McLaren, but we get back past him. Vandergaard's up in 14th at the moment, having not stopped. Bianchi's been in. We're up to 14th. A couple of cars have dropped out. Massa being one of them.
Well, it's coming together for us. We're 4 places up on our predictions.
About 13th. Jackie Wells is 8 in a second. Ricardo's in the pits. Button's going to surely have a go. But will this actually elevate us into the top 10? It will. We are in P10. Vandergaard's 9th. I'd assume he's still yet to pit. Massive news in the championship then. It's Massa and Hamilton out of this race. Whether they've come together, I don't know. They're both out, with Guido van der Garde yet to stop. Puts us a net P9. Could be fighting for points here today. I'll try and keep it together. Hopefully not lose out through the pit stop phases. Looks like the cars around us went for the option tyre, whereas we went for the prime. Might mean that our stops converge. Thought we had a run there.
Be aware, we think the car behind is trying to save fuel.
Hold him off. The rest is now through. Get to van der Garde staying fairly static, and the Caterham is now in. Must have started on the prime tyre. We should overtake him here.
Good. You're matching race pace.
We do. We are past Guido van der Garde.
We're 9 places above where we predicted. Let's carry this through to the end.
Really would be something if we could walk out of Hungary with points. Considering as the last time we were here with this team, in its previous guise of Virgin Racing, we suffered our only DNF of this series, crashing into the pit wall entry. Rather embarrassing accident, if I recall, but one I think we've all done. Wasn't even entering the pits, was just round in the final corner. Looking at the mini-map, the back of our train, which I think is not Bianchi still, but he's near, is being caught by race leader Sebastian Vettel. We are seconds off the pace of the guys ahead of us, but at the moment just enough of a roadblock. Lead group have started coming in.
Managing the problem or pit for fresh rubber.
We are definitely going to fall a lap down, so maybe we take the early stop once again. I think we get followed in by the pack. At the moment we can still just about drive around the tyres. So let's go to our scheduled lap, although they're all coming in. So we'll make a late dive across, but we're back in. He stays out. Master came in. Hulkenberg's currently in the lead. No, we're going to get held. Oh no, down to last.
We're racing on the way out.
we're about to get lapped as well by Nico Hulkenberg, who's in the lead. Let's try and use that to our advantage.
You only have to stop once.
We do.
One stop left.
Past Ricciardo. And let Hulkenberg and Vettel through without letting Ricciardo back past.
Wave blue conditions no longer apply.
But I think we've just been cost points by being held up in the pit lane.
The car behind is running on the option tyre. They have the advantage.
We don't even manage to get back past Adrian Sutil. Looks like Ricciardo before him, compromised by being lapped by the leader, which is still currently Nico Hulkenberg, but not close enough to take advantage. Down to 19 in this race now, though. So that's caught behind Vettel, who'd had a bit of an issue with Hulkenberg, but again, not close enough to take advantage. All the rest that we've lost from this race, so one of the Force Indias. At the moment,
Our data's showing that the car ahead
with the way pit stops are, Jules Bianchi's in the top 10, which would be a great result, but he's still going to come in for a second time. Bottas is up there as well. We've certainly been cost a chance at some points by being held in the pits. There's a slow-moving Jensen button, so we'll take advantage of that. And we'll move past the McLaren. Ooh, getting a little bit carnage-filled at the moment. Cars in the pits includes Bianchi. Back up to 14th.
Blue flag conditions. Let the car immediately behind through. You're not racing him.
Rosberg closes in on us. He's now second, so looks like we've had Hulk and Sutil pit. Hulk and Vettel, sorry, as we've got Alonso there as well, so we've got to try and move out the way of the Spaniard too. We do. In the pits could be Guido van der Garde, because he, yeah, it is. He went later than everybody else first time round. He'll do the same now. So he should at least just about move back into 13th.
Be aware,
Raikkonen now in 4th.
trying to save fuel.
Try and back off into 3 to let the Finn through. And very wide to do so. At least it's Webber that's behind him and not Jean-Eric Byrne or Daniel Ricciardo. As Hulkenberg goes through as well. He's in 6th, doing a great job in the Sauber.
Okay, we need you to make way for the car behind.
Get lapped again, this time by Perez, who was the man in front of us when we were P9. Romain Grosjean with him as well, as we taking the extreme inside to let the pair of them through. I think Valtteri Bottas has had a problem, because he's now only 4 seconds in front of us. There was a yellow flag out as well, as we struggle around the final corner, run very wide. It gives Werner brief opportunity, but not enough. The cars in the pits as well, but not quick enough to take advantage of any of it. Lead cars anyway, as the Ferrari comes out of the pits. Struggling on these tyres again.
Bottas will a tyre change within a couple of laps.
3 laps till our stop. And I know I'm hard on my tyres, but the degradation here is ridiculous as Vern tries to get a run around the outside, but we should just hold him off. He tries the up and under. Oh, this might be a case of going a lap early again. We are a lap down at least. Really fighting the car at every braking point at the moment. Every traction zone. Are we able to get any power down? And carries on, nobody follows us in. Van der Garde, Bianchi, they'll all move past us. There's 18 left in this race now, somebody's dropped out. We're now 19th of 18. I'm wondering who's dropped out. Find out shortly, I'm sure.
The track is clear. Track is clear. You have no more scheduled pit stops, so
Full
look
to
after your
last.
tyres.
Look at somebody who was. Oh, it's Kimi Räikkönen. He's out. So it was somebody who was a lap up on us. I mean, whatever happens, we'll beat both ours.
It looks
Yeah,
like the
we'll
car
beat our
is trying
objective.
to create a gap. He's running full revs, maximum power.
At least match the team objective as I run wide through the chicane. It's now about whether we can get back in front of Piek van der Garde, Bianchi, even Button, who's in. Vern's in as well. Looks like Vern and Button are leaving the pits. We will at least get back past Bianchi and Piek, and we'll sweep round the outside of Vern. Didn't really leave him a huge amount of room. Don't mind, back up to 15th. Button should now scamper away from us. Van der Garde likely is going to be coming in again a little later, so we should hopefully jump the Dutchman, and then so 14th is about as much as we can muster. Unless there are some more incidents up ahead. There's Van der Garde, he's in the pits now. We'll overtake the Caterham, back into P14. And for the second time in 4 seasons we've done it. We were on for 14th place and we've crashed out of the Hungarian Grand Prix with just a few laps left. Oh boy. Only our second DNF in this entire series. I swear the hitbox on that pit entry is just a mess. Let's take a look, actually, nice and slow. We do clip it with the wing. Yeah, that's on me. That's the second time. Oh, and we take Jean-Eric Verne with us. Nearly Bianchi as well. Before coming to a rest on the edge of the track. Flashbacks, of course, unavailable because we're not using them. So the race comes to a premature end in Hungary.
Can't believe we're out. Park up, engine 2 off.
And we join the list of retirements in Jean-Eric Verne, Kimi Räikkönen, Paul di Resta, Felipe Massa and Lewis Hamilton. Bianchi took 14th in the end, Van der Garde and Piek behind him. But second Hungarian Grand Prix in 4, and we've crashed out on the pit entrance wall. I mentioned it earlier as well. No. Well, it happens. It happens sometimes, I guess. At the top end of things, Sebastian Vettel takes a victory by 17 seconds, dominant ahead of Fernando Alonso. Rosberg's in third, then it's Webber fourth. Hulkenberg with an impressive 5th place for Sauber. And it's Perez, Grosjean, Gutierrez, Maldonado gets points as well, as does Adrian Sutil. Button, Ricciardo, Bottas, Bianchi, Peak, and Van der Gaard round out the 16 that finish. Disappointing, because look, we were actually on a decent pace as well. 25.8, our fastest lap of the race. What does that mean for all the championships, though? With Hamilton's retirement, Vettel is now 22 points clear. Vettel now 22 points clear, as I said, before I was interrupted there by Andy. Alonso 37 points back, and Nico Rosberg right in the hunt again now. Felipe Massa remains 5th, probably still out of it, but he's just ahead of Mark Webber. Perez is 7th, ahead of Raikkonen, Grosjean, Hulkenberg solidifying that top 10 spot. Then it's Button, Gutierrez, Maldonado moves up to 13th, De Rest is 14th, Sutil is 15th, and then it's those of us that are yet to score. The 2 Toro Rossos, Ricciardo and Verne, just ahead of me. Then it's Bottas, Bianchi, Peak, and Van der Gaard. And in the constructors, Mercedes lead is cut to 29 points. Red Bull right back in it. Ferrari also not too far away. McLaren remain 4th, still just ahead of Lotus. Then it's Sauber, Force India ahead of Williams, who move up to 8th with Maldonado's 2 points. And then it's Toro Rosso, us and Caterham. And what a gutting way to end that, because I don't think we were on for points. I think 14th was probably about as good as it was going to get, but we were driving better than expected at the Hungaroring. But for the second time in 4 seasons, we get a DNF, and it's something about this team and this circuit. Virgin Racing and Marussia, both with DNFs to their name. We managed to get away with it with Team Lotus and HRT, and hopefully that will continue into next season with Caterham. But crushing way to end the Hungarian Grand Prix. Disappointed, I think is the word. Frustrated, really. Just a lapse in concentration. And we hit that pit entry wall and we're out. I hope you enjoyed it more than I did. If you did, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all good stuff. You know the drill by now. I'll see you for the next one in Belgium, where hopefully tyre wear will not be quite as painful. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.